Hi, my name is Sarah, and this is Mr.
Henry, Frederick Henry.
In what city and country were you born?
I was born in France, in Brittany, which is a region of France, and in Brest, which is a port in that region, on the Atlantic.
Cool. The United States.
I first came when I was 28. I worked in New York City, and then I met my wife, who's from Arkansas. She's from Bentonville. And then we moved to France, and moved to Arkansas afterwards.
When did you come to Bentonville then?
To Bentonville?
Yes.
8 years ago.
8 years.
In 2005.
That's the same time I moved here. What was the culture like there?
Well, I lived in Paris, where, which is a big cultural center.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, I lived in Brest, where I was born. And actually, in the country, in Brittany, people don't speak French. People speak French, but they also speak Breton, which is a Celtic language.
Oh, cool. I did not know that.
And it's more, I come from a pretty big city, but it's pretty rural around.
Okay.
It's like the main industry is food industry, so a lot of farming.
How did the community differ from where you live today? Like the food or the clothes, those kind of things?
It's very different. Food-wise, at least, it's a lot about seafood where I'm from.
Ooh.
So a little bit less seafood here.
Yes.
And I think there's probably a more ancient cooking tradition, but which is disappearing. I see a big difference between my parents' generation, and my generation. My generation, very few of my friends can cook. And it was really different from the generation before.
Okay.
And I think there's almost more interest in food in the United States now than in France, bizarrely.
Wow.
People are really excited about food here.
Yes, they are. my family's a big food family, so that I can understand that completely. All right. So you said that you moved when you were 28, right?
Mm-hmm.
Were there any obstacles that you had to overcome when trying to get here?
First of all, I was used to British English.
Mm-hmm.
And so American English is pretty different. So it's hard. It's different when you speak, when you have to understand. So that was a big obstacle.
Okay. If we're planning on coming here, what kind of things did you imagine it'd be like?
You're talking about Arkansas?
Well, just America in general.
Well, I didn't have many of course you have some, you see, America on TV everywhere. But I didn't imagine anything precise, so I was very open and I was very happily surprised.
Oh, okay.
Both with New York and with Bentonville, which are
very different places.
Pretty different places, yeah. Now, what surprised me a lot when I moved to Arkansas is that people are very nice. And when you come from Paris, it's a bit scary. Because you don't know what's going to happen, you don't know if it's normal.
My parents always say the same thing. We just moved from California, but they say it's a different world out here.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right, so you didn't really have a view on what America would be like. So the next question is, did your experience change your view of America? So you said it was different than what you expected, though.
It's still a very exotic country for me, and it's still full of surprises every day.
What kind of surprises?
I think people are more genuine than in France, fewer preconceived ideas, prejudices, so they're more open to novelties. I'm really very impressed by the way things are organized for the collectivity, like on the political, the political system is very robust and was very well thought in a time where there was not even a telephone.
Yeah.
And it's still working today, And
just expanded a bit.
Yeah, and when you listen to people, you get a feeling. People have the feeling that their political system is broken and is completely gridlocked, and it's not true. You should take a passport, go live somewhere else, and you figure out that the system works very well here.
I'll have to take that advice someday.
Mm-hmm.
All right, have you changed culturally since arriving in the area? Like, has the way your customs in food or clothing or family connections changed?
I think so. I think, yes. I think my relation to people, collective, to people I don't know, like every day has changed. It may be because of the job I do, because I'm in the hospitality business, but also because I've seen that happening around me. And when I go back to Paris, for example, I smile too much. People look at me bizarrely.
Oh, that's my favorite thing so far. Smiling too much. What challenge did you or do you have in learning English?
It's very hard for me to use vowels. Vowels and the emphasis.
Mm-hmm.
Words like misery doesn't mean the same thing. For me, I have to think about it,
Okay.
And vowels are very difficult too.
Did you speak English before you moved here? You said you did.
Yeah, I spoke British English, which I learned in school,
Okay.
and I also learned because I went to England a couple of times.
Okay, so some of the terms were different or had different meanings over there.
The terms are the accent too.
That's
For example,
true.
I used to be from France, and I'm from France.
France sounds so much more. So much more.
So much more British.
Yeah. I like to pretend I have British accents.
Oh.
I don't. I wish.
Quite a few people ask me if I'm from New Zealand or
Mhm.
Australia,
Okay.
and I usually tell them that they have the planet right.
That's perfect. Have concerns that your children will forget their native language or culture.
It's very hard to pass on your language to your kids. It seems, everybody tells you, you should have done this, it was very simple to do that. It's not that simple. Like in our family, we both speak French. Actually, my wife, who's from Bentonville, speaks really good French. But when we met, she could not speak French, so we took the habit of speaking English. And so that's the main language at home. And I really think that the mother's language is more important than the father's language. And so I think the most difficult pattern, where the dad is from a foreign country and has to pass on his language. And you start speaking only French to your kids, and when they turn 2 or 3, they don't want to speak French to you anymore. They say, I don't want to speak French, I want to speak English. So your choice is either to struggle and have a conflict with them every time you have to talk to them, and also take the risk that they may not like French anymore because they would associate it with something that was
Forced on them.
forced,
Okay.
yeah.
That language barrier with your kids.
Well, it's frustrating because I would like them to have this opportunity of speaking 2 languages.
Yes, because that's especially well looked on nowadays.
And I think also it's an opening.
Yeah.
And so it's make probably your mind more agile. I think it will come eventually. I see they are 8 and 10 now, and I see more interest. I'm just back from France, where I spent 2 weeks with them, and they were over there. They wanted to speak more French.
Okay.
So I'm very hopeful. But
That's very cool. What do you believe it means to be an American?
well, it's been a lot of things. I'm very proud to be an American. I became a citizen last January.
Yay,
So it means,
congratulations.
thank you. It means a lot to me. And I think it's a country that's reinventing itself all the time. I think it's a country that's the most adaptable ever. And it's a big difference because I come from a country which pretty much relies on its past. Not entirely. I want to make a cliche there. But in French, people, refer a lot to French past.
Okay.
And it's harder for us over there to
change things.
Yeah, to change, to adapt to new things. I mean, it's not that hard, but there's more resistance than here. And here there's more will to go to new things.
Okay. How can a person call themselves an American and still hold on to their cultural identity?
Well, it makes me think of something that's pretty crazy here. One of the biggest holidays is a holiday that's made for immigrants, like Thanksgiving. It's a typical immigrant holiday. So when it's the first Thanksgiving, it doesn't mean I haven't had Thanksgiving as a citizen yet. But I think it's great to join a country where one of them, is, for some people it's even more important than Christmas, isn't it?
I actually hadn't even thought of it that way, but that's true. It is kind of an immigrant holiday. But yeah, I mean, I know Thanksgiving is almost bigger than Christmas in my house.
Uh-huh.
Just because people are kind of alone on their holidays on Christmas, but everyone comes together for Thanksgiving.
Right. And so for that holiday, when you're an immigrant, you fit in perfectly.
You feel like you're at home.
Yeah, so
That's
I
very
think
cool.
I think it's really cool to. For me, I mean, so far, it hasn't been a year yet, but it's great to be an American. I'm very proud of it.
That's very exciting. All right. Have the citizens of Bentonville been welcoming to you and other immigrants?
Yes, when I became a citizen, I had a little party, and everybody came because very, very cheerful, made me feel very welcome and feel very good.
That's very cool. Well, as you
And also,
find out.
recently when I went to France, I had this conversation with a friend who became French.
Oh, okay.
So I was able to compare the two processes, and the becoming an American process, I thought was very meaningful. It was a very low paperwork amount, like maybe 2 pages with very basic information, and the whole process was very meaningful, ending with a very touching ceremony. While the same thing in France was a lot of paper, a lot of time, very complicated, and my friend found out he was French through a mail. So.
Well, it's the end of my note cards.
All right.
But I want to thank you for doing this. It was really fun.
Thank you.
It was
It's fun for me too.
It was good.